Clearly we're in a smaller area than we would be when we're outside in the nets and on the practice ground. So we need to think about what kit we're using. We need to keep it safe. The NHS doesn't need anyone else turning up to A&E at the moment with a broken finger or anything like that. And of course I've got a greenhouse here, we've got windows. We need to make sure that we're not going to damage things and cause injuries. So just a few thoughts. Clearly it's up to you what happens in your garden. You're responsible as the adult for what your child uses. But just my thoughts are, you've got a traditional, or not so traditional, but a cricket ball, a hard ball. I'm going to use this with a competent catcher for very controlled exercises, but I'm not going to be throwing that hard at all. And actually also, it doesn't really bounce that well on grass like this, so it's not that useful. And clearly if you hit that, even if you try and hit it softly and you middle it, it could go and do some damage. So not going to use that very much. Got a tennis ball here. This is a cricket tennis ball with a little seam on it, but actually a normal tennis ball is absolutely fine as well. Bit softer, so going to do less damage. Bounces nicely, so we can use it for some practice. Still though, I'd be careful about hitting that hard. If that goes hard into the greenhouse, it's probably going to break a pane. And if it goes hard and whacks someone in close quarters, it could hurt still. So I think you just still need to be careful, but certainly for some practices, whoa, tennis ball, pretty useful. What else we got here? Wind ball. Going a bit softer. Still wouldn't be totally sure about that against my greenhouse. Well, yes, nice bit of bounce on that. So they're quite nice ones to use as well. They're quite squidgy. Nice ball there. Now a couple here for practicing any attacking shots. I've got a sponge ball here. That's fantastic. It's obviously still a ball, still flies fine, still got a bit of bounce about it, which is great, but it's not going to damage anything. Or it shouldn't do anyway. So that one I really like for practicing attacking shots. It's also not going to go too far, which is great because it decelerates through the air. And the other ball I really like is this wobble ball from Gray Nichols. Costs just under £3, I think. It's got a smooth side and it's got a rough side, so it can be used for sort of funny reaction catching like that. It can also be used to practice swing, because the ball should swing that way, should swing because there's less turbulence around the shiny side than around the rough side. So you can actually get it to practice a bit of swing as well, either just throwing it to each other, bowling it to each other, or using it for batting practice. So I really like that wobble ball. And if the worst comes to the worst and you haven't got any outdoor space at all, probably the safest of all, you've got a scrunched up bit of newspaper, you can still bounce that ball, or still bounce that bit of newspaper if you're indoor with no wind, if you're allowed to. Maybe that's something you can use. So we can adapt, we can improvise, but I think making sure we use the right bit of kit for the right exercise is really important for us.